Is this a perfect world? Welcome to the future. Imagine a world where every year the government selects 24 teenagers and throws them into an arena to fight to the death. Sounds familiar, huh? Or where love has been diagnosed as a disease, but thankfully a cure has been found and all young people are required to get the cure. Or the government has been overthrown and women have been subjugated to men. Welcome to the world of dystopian literature. A dystopia is an imaginary, futuristic world in which society lives under the oppression and control of a totalitarian government, a repressive society, a force of technology, or a corrupt business corporation. When you see the word totalitarian, if you're not sure what that means, think total control. On your Prezi notes, our first box says, "What is sci-fi?" It's imaginary writing based on real or projected scientific developments. Dystopias often start with an illusion of a perfect society or utopia, but as the story progresses, the reader and characters realize the fictional world is actually the opposite. They often focus on current social, technological, or governmental trends and show us, the readers, what would happen if this were taken too far. It's basically an exaggerated worst case scenario. This allows the dystopia to criticism our world. The history of dystopian fiction. Dystopian literature is definitely not new. One of the earliest well known examples is H.G. Wells' Time Machine. This is the story that was referenced in The Big Bang Theory with that big funny machine in their living room, if you remember that episode. In the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, dystopian literature became a powerful way for American writers to criticize communism and socialism. These decades produced some of the most important classics, and you may have heard of some of these. Some of them are still very popular, and you'll read them in high school. The next few decades saw many more dystopian novels, but they were all for adults until 1993 when Lois Lowry wrote The Giver. It was the first book like this written specifically for young adults. And when that happened, a floodgate opened. Since the beginning of the 2000s, they are one of the most popular genres in not only books, but also in movies. There are many here that you may have heard of, many that have become movies. Some are still around, and some have fallen by the wayside. But you probably recognize quite a few of these. So let's talk about some common story elements. Most of them share common ideas, and there's a spot on your Google slide for this. Citizens of the dystopian society live under harsh control, usually the control of a government, corporation, technology, or religious or philosophical idea. The truth of the world is often kept a secret. The stories sometimes take place after an apocalyptic event that ends the world as we know it and gives rise to a new world and a new way of life. Citizens are expected to conform. They must obey all of the laws, and individuality is seen as a bad thing. Society tends to dehumanize its citizens. It might call them by a number, or it might put them into categories. There's often an illusion of a perfect society. Sometimes these stories' oppressors truly think they're doing what's right, but it gets taken away. It gets taken too far. The main character of the dystopian society is often one of the few or the first to question the goodness of his or her society. Creating a dystopia. There are usually two ways that a dystopia is formed. Society adopts a new form of government or gives power to a corporation or system of beliefs in order to create a better world. But the new government, corporation, technology, or belief system is taken too far and becomes oppressive, unjust, and inhumane. In The Giver, something like this happens. In The Uglies, in Gattaca. Another way is that dystopias are created after an apocalyptic event destroys society as we know it, and those left alive are forced to adopt extreme policies to ensure humanity's survival. Books like The Maze Runner fall into this category, City of Ember, and Wall-E, and of course, The Hunger Games. There are some common themes in dystopian stories. Go ahead and find the spot on your Google slide to take these notes. The danger of a particular type of government is one theme. It would be a lot easier for the government to find terrorists and criminals if they weren't limited by people's desire for privacy. But what if the government monitored everything we did and said and punished individuals as a crime? The importance of knowledge and truth. This is one that's very important in The Giver. The danger of a particular policy. In the Among the Hidden series, author Margaret Peterson Haddix creates a world where third children are illegal and must be kept secret. The danger of allowing one group to have too much power. The importance of free will and individuality. In The Uglies, everyone needs to be beautiful, but some people want to be themselves. And the danger of technology. What if technology went way too far? Would it be really cool if our brains were connected directly to the internet? The danger of desensitization. Wouldn't it be so intense to watch a reality show where real people try to hunt one another down? What would that do to humanity? Well, we found out in Hunger Games. The importance of humanity. You're probably familiar with The Maze Runner. The danger of human nature. In Lord of the Flies, a number of teenagers are left on an island with no adult supervision, and we get to see what happens. Is this a perfect world or a dystopia?